"Give it to me," said D'Artagnan, who when the gate was opened deposited the key in his pocket, reckoning upon returning by that gate. The steps were already down and the door open. Mousqueton stood at the door and Porthos was inside the carriage. "Mount, my lord," said D'Artagnan to Mazarin, who sprang into the carriage without waiting for a second bidding. D'Artagnan followed him, and Mousqueton, having closed the door, mounted behind the carriage with many groans. He had made some difficulties about going, under pretext that he still suffered from his wound. But D'Artagnan had said to him, "Remain if you like, my dear Monsieur Mouston, but I warn you that Paris will be burnt down tonight," upon which Mousqueton had declared, without asking anything further, that he was ready to follow his master and Monsieur d'Artagnan to the end of the world. The carriage started at a measured pace, without betraying by the slightest sign that it contained people in a hurry. The cardinal wiped his forehead with his handkerchief and looked around him. On his left was Porthos, whilst D'Artagnan was on his right. Each guarded a door and served as a rampart to him on either side. Before him, on the front seat, lay two pairs of pistols, one in front of Porthos and the other of D'Artagnan. About 100 paces from the Palais Royal a patrol stopped the carriage. "Who goes?" asked the captain. "Mazarin," replied D'Artagnan, bursting into a laugh. The cardinal's hair stood on end, but the joke appeared an excellent one to the citizens, who, seeing the conveyance without escort and unarmed, would never have believed in the possibility of so great an imprudence. "A good journey to ye," they cried, allowing it to pass. "Hem!" said D'Artagnan. "What does my lord think of that reply?" "Man of talent," cried Mazarin. "In truth," said Porthos, "I understand; but now, about the middle of the Rue de Petits Champs, they were stopped by a second patrol." "Who goes there?" inquired the captain of the patrol. "Keep back, my lord," said D'Artagnan, and Mazarin buried himself so far behind the two friends that he disappeared, completely hidden between them. "Who goes there?" cried the same voice, impatiently, whilst D'Artagnan perceived that they had rushed to the horses' heads. But putting his head out of the carriage, "And Planchet," said he. The chief approached, and it was indeed Planchet. D'Artagnan had recognized the voice of his old servant. "How, sir," said Planchet, "is it you?" "Et mon Dieu, yes. My good friend, this worthy Porthos, has just received a sword wound, and I am taking him to his country house at St. Cloud." "Oh, really?" said Planchet. "Porthos," said D'Artagnan, "if you can still speak, say a word, my dear Porthos, to this good Planchet." "Planchet, my friend," said Porthos, in a melancholy voice, "I am very ill. Should you meet a doctor, you will do me a favor by sending him to me." "Oh, good heaven!" said Planchet. "What a misfortune, and how did it happen?" "I will tell you all about it," replied Mousqueton. Porthos uttered a deep "Make way for us." "Planchet," said D'Artagnan in a whisper to him, "or he will not arrive alive. The lungs are attacked." "My friend?" Planchet shook his head with the air of a man who says, "In that case things look ill." Then he exclaimed, turning to his men, "Let them pass, they are friends." The carriage resumed its course, and Mazarin, who had held his breath, ventured to breathe again. "Briccany," muttered he. A few steps in advance of the gate of Saint Honor they met a third troop. This latter party was composed of ill-looking fellows, who resembled bandits more than anything else. They were the men of the beggar of Saint Eustache. "Attention, Porthos!" cried D'Artagnan. Porthos placed his hand on the pistols. "What is it?" asked Mazarin. "My lord, I think we are in bad company." A man advanced to the door with a kind of scythe in his hand. "Qui vive?" he asked. "And rascal," said D'Artagnan. Do you not recognize his highness the prince's carriage?" "Prince or not," said the man, "open. We are here to guard the gate, and no one whom we do not know shall pass." "What is to be done?" said Porthos. "Part you pass," replied D'Artagnan. "But how?" asked Mazarin. "Through or over, coachman." "Gallop on." The coachman raised his whip. "Not a step further," said the man, who appeared to be the captain, "or I will hamstring your horses." "Peste!" said Porthos. "It would be a pity, animals which cost me 100 pistoles each." "I will pay you 200 for them," said Mazarin. "Yes, but when once they are hamstrung, our necks will be strung next. If one of them comes to my side," asked Porthos, "must I kill him?" "Yes, by a blow of your fist. If you can, we will not fire, but at the last extremity." "I can do it," said Porthos. "Come and open." "Then," cried D'Artagnan to the man with the scythe, taking one of the pistols up by the muzzle and preparing to strike with the handle; and as the man approached, D'Artagnan, in order to have more freedom for his actions, leaned half out of the door. His eyes were fixed upon those of the mendicant, which were lighted up by a lantern. Without doubt he recognized D'Artagnan, for he became deadly pale. Doubtless the musketeer knew him, for his hair stood up on his head.